What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how you can get faster when it comes to your cuts and when it comes to your releases off the line of scrimmage against press. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it can teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver, running back, quarterback, whatever, and you guys would like some specific exercises to improve your speed, your explosiveness in the gym, mainly if you're a wide receiver, check out that very first link in the description below for our 12-week wide receiver gym workout schedule. So it's specific exercises for 90 days for wide receivers specifically to improve their balance, their explosiveness, their speed, all the above. We give you the exact sets and reps and what to do on a daily basis for 90 days. So check out that very first link in the description below, fellas, if interested. Let's get started with this video. So now, first thing we're looking at here is this route from Christian McCaffrey. And the one thing when it comes to your cuts, I want to talk about your arm drive out of the break. So anytime that you guys are making a cut on a route, obviously, think about it from the very beginning of the route. There's 3 phases of every single route. So you have to make sure that you are selling vertical. You have to make sure the break point, so that's phase 1. Phase 2 is the break point, and phase 3 is the acceleration. So how do I get out of that cut faster to get to that phase 3? Because phase 3 on the route is what will get more space from the DB or from the linebacker, safety, whoever's guarding you. And it comes down a lot to your arm swings. So when Christian McCaffrey makes this break here, obviously everybody knows he's fast, but when you have to cut, there's a big kind of difference between straightaway speed and being able to get in and out of breaks quickly and with some speed. Because he could have all the speed in the world, but if he cuts and he doesn't have good form, he's not dripping his arms out of the break, he could end up drifting on his route. And that gives the DB a lot of time to recover if I'm not smooth and I'm not sharp with my cuts. But when I'm sharp with my cuts, I need speed. And that comes a lot from those arm swings. So you see when he's getting in and out of this break, watch what his left arm does. What I always say is you want to pretend like you have somebody you don't like behind you and you are trying to elbow them with the arm that's ripping you out of the break. So if you're on the left side running an out route, it's your left arm. If you're on the right side running an out route, it's your right arm. So you see how he rips it behind. That elbow rip is what will get your hips ripped open, and that is what can keep that consistent arm drive in and out of the break. Everybody's heard people talk about, running form, right? Let's say you're running a 40-yard dash. Obviously they talk about the start, all that stuff, but when you get to that acceleration phase that lasts 30 to 20 yards, your arms are in a 90 degree and you're swinging at your shoulders. That's essentially what you want to do after the break. You cut, you're ripping that elbow, you're keeping your arm at that 90 degree position because you ripping those arms out of there can get your hips around, number one, but can also help you maintain speed from the cut to make you faster. So make sure, fellas, you're cutting on a post route, you're ripping with your inside arm, you're cutting on an out route, you're ripping with your outside arm. Try to elbow somebody behind you because that will rip your hips and that will get you out with much more speed. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time, and then we'll talk about the mechanics of a cut and how that can also help you get out of the break faster. So great example here from Christian McCaffrey, ripping that elbow and elbowing somebody that he does not like. You think of that phrase and that will help you with the arm drive out of the break. All right, fellas, so now we're looking at this route from Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to play it again full speed. So he's got an outside shade or outside leverage DB, and he's running an out route. So this is very important that you have speed out of this particular break, right? So I have a DB who's outside shade, like we said. And so when you have to run an out route, especially on any kind of outside breaking route, whether that is a corner, whether that is an out, whether that is maybe a fade, you got to give the QB space to throw you open. So and I'm going to tie this into speed, I promise you. I just got to explain this situation so you guys know why it's important. If you don't know the reason why, there's no point in even learning it. So if he's outside leverage, what a lot of people would do is they'll try to attack his leverage and stem the DB and attack something they call his midline, like a pretend line that goes down the middle of his body. But when you attack a DB's outside leverage, he's just going to keep his leverage. His sole purpose being outside leverage or outside shade is to force you inside, to protect his leverage. So what that does is that's just going to shorten the space that you have to accelerate and get to that third phase of the route, like we talked about. So what you would have to do is you'd have to attack his inside shoulder. Now, when you attack his inside shoulder, a lot of people are hesitant on this because, again, you have to make sure that we get out of the break quickly and widen the distance with the DB. We have to be able to slip underneath him and go win the race to the ball. Now, when Jerry Jeudy makes this cut, I want you to pay attention to his foot strike. So to be able to get speed out of cuts, you cannot reach outside of your frame on cuts because that will prevent you from driving off of the cut leg. So I'm going here. I'm attacking the inside shoulder of this DB. I'm trying to get him to flip. So when I break, I have space to the inside. or space to the outside, excuse me. But the only way I'm going to get him to break, or the only way I'm going to get him to commit, is by selling fade. I have to run with good pad level. I can't raise up before the break. I can't chop my stride before the break point, because that's just going to give him an indicator that I'm making a cut. But that's much easier said than done. It is very hard to run like this, full stride, full speed, good pad level, and cut on a dime without losing some speed at the break point. So your foot strike and not reaching are the two most important things. So you see how when Judy cuts, it's just right in stride. He keeps normal stride, bam, puts that foot right in the grass. And now when he strikes the ground, you see how he's not on his heel and he's not on his tippy toe. That is the key position that we want to try to get to anytime that I'm making a cut. Middle arch of the foot, so I could push off of it and get out of the break. That cut leg right there, and obviously he's got a little bit of a drift. On a speed out, it's honestly to be expected, but that's why it's so important that we get out of the break fast and we get a little bit of separation on this DB, but I want to keep this separation. And it comes down to foot strike. Because if he were to go here, and let's say he reached outside of his frame, and that cut instead of being here was closer to this first down line, and he reaches, that's not going to allow him to push out of the break with some speed. It's not going to allow him to have that speed cut, if you will. Because when that foot's outside your frame, you cannot drive off of it. But when that foot's inside your frame, striking on the middle arch of the foot, you can drive. And when you can drive, that gives you speed, and that can allow you to win that foot race with the DB to the ball. That is textbook right there from Jerry Jeudy, and that is how you get out of that cut a little bit faster. So the two things that we have learned so far: the arm drive, elbowing somebody behind you. Number two, pushing off of the foot and making sure we don't reach to maintain speed on that cut. So now I'm going to play this full speed. Now we're going to talk about how you guys can get faster release off the line of scrimmage as a wide receiver. So main thing about a release when you're throwing like a crossover move, a single jab to the inside, is you have to make this cut kind of at a 45-degree angle. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's play this full speed. So this wide receiver comes up, closes the space, and he throws this crossover and obviously gets some speed out of the break. DB got to fall. There's very explosive movement that happened here. So he does this crossover, and I want you to watch his left foot right here. You see how he steps at almost a 45-degree from his first initial cut. I call this like a double tap. Right? So like you close space with the DB, you're going to release to the outside. So you want to do a double tap. You want to go out then in with your feet, which is essentially you step with the right foot first, left foot again. But when you step with that left foot, so many wide receivers, instead of stepping at this like 45, which also will threaten the DB and actually get him to move, they will step, instead of here, they will step here. You have no explosion like that, fellas. When you guys are stepping on a release to get out of it faster, guys love to go lateral. They love to do all of this movement. But meanwhile, you're not moving forward. Also, meanwhile, you're not selling the route. You are moving side to side, and that is not going to give you explosion upfield. I want everybody to try this right now. Try to stand up and take a step to your, stand with your feet close together, take a step to your left, directly to the side, like lateral. And then what you do is try to push up field off of that step, like straight forward. Can't do it, right? It's going to be very awkward. Now take a step slightly on a 45. Now try to push up further, push up vertical. That is way easier of a step to take. I just stood up and did it myself. I suggest you guys try that, because when you guys make this double cut and it's at a 45-degree angle, it is much easier to push off of this and get this next step into the route. Get it onto the stem of the route, whether you're running a comeback, a fade, a post, whatever it is. But it has to be at that 45. Now, another benefit, like I said, is when you step at this 45, what does that look like? That looks like you're actually running that way, and that's more likely to get this DB to bite on the break. But it will also help you with speed. We never want to move lateral, because instead of his next step being there on the 45 stem, or like on the stem getting up into the route, and his next following step is already past the guy, if he were to step lateral, and he steps here, his next step will be there, next step will be there, and then he gets up into the route. It's an extra step and a half that you add onto your movements, which will make you slower. So fellas, make sure when we're doing that crossover release, whether it's maybe like a one jab, maybe it's a jab inside, whatever, it has to be at that 45. Let's play it again, full speed one more time. Great job attacking, great job stepping at that 45 to maintain his speed and get off of that release much quicker. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. Always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a full 90-day wide receiver gym workout schedule, everything wide receivers need to do in the gym to get faster, stronger, more explosion, prove their balance, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.